Today I have a very important question for you. What does Maury Schwartz have in common with Rosa Parks, Lech Walesa, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Thomas Edison, Harriet Tubman, Ronald Reagan, and Nelson Mandela? The common denominator of these folks? They were people who made a difference, people who left a legacy. You can too. I'm sure you recognize most of these names, but most likely you are asking yourself, who in the world is Maury Schwartz? Let me tell you. In the winter of 1995, I was privileged to receive a pre-publication copy of a book the publisher was testing in the market with. As I read, a whole cornucopia of feelings, thoughts, and emotions flowed. I knew this book could become an American bestseller because it taught about real living and real dying. The book, Tuesdays with Maury by Mitch Albom. Through Mitch, his former sociology student at Brandeis University, Maury Schwartz, who was dying of a severe neurological disease, teaches us much about leaving a legacy of living life to its fullest. Maury set the stage of understanding legacy so beautifully as he pondered the universal question, what if today was my last day on earth? Mitch, he said, the culture doesn't encourage you to think about such things until you're about to die. We're so wrapped up in the egotistical things, career, family, having enough money, meeting the mortgage, getting a new car, fixing the radiator when it breaks. We're involved in trillions of little acts just to keep going. So we don't get into the habit of standing back and looking at our lives and saying, is this all? Is this all I want? Is something missing? Maury paused. You just need someone to probe you in that direction. It won't just happen automatically. And so Maury pushes us to the question, what legacy do I want to leave, and how do I go about it? Whether you are a baby boomer born between 1946 and 1964, or just ahead of that 70 million plus group, your opportunity in the last third of your life is to make your most important contribution to society and to the well-being of future generations. More specifically, to your own circle of family and associates. So the big question is, what legacy do I want to leave, and how do I go about it? After your QNexus experience, as you sit on your front porch and ponder, you will remember your innate resilience, which will allow you to leave a rich legacy. You will be remembered for how you optimized your essential resilience. The MacArthur study of successful aging gives us 3 components of successful aging: avoid disease, engage with life, and maintain high cognitive and physical functioning. In essence, essential resilience. People will remember you as being childlike, having a sense of adventure, fun-loving, curious, with a good sense of humor. You will be remembered as someone who was noble and greatly valued because of your autonomy, initiative, and service orientation. You constantly help people. You had a purpose in life, a mission, and were able to find meaning in all life's challenges. Dr. Stephen Covey, and I quote, says, "My life is consumed with a sense of mission, and that gives me energy. When you have a sense of purpose, life is different and you are able to live life in crescendo. Most men are focused on their career, and when that's over, they are over. But if you have a significant purpose and meaning to your life, it strengthens your immune system and gives you an extra 20 years of life." Close quote. So one of the keys to leaving a powerful legacy is to do. When we do, we have purpose. Ikigai, or why I wake up in the morning, is a wonderful Okinawan word for having purpose in life. One of the reasons Okinawans are one of the 4 groups of longest-lived people in the world. Your legacy will be defined by your character resilience, that you were honest, you told the truth, you had integrity, and were honorable. You will be remembered as one who experienced and shared ecological resilience. You loved and shared music, your love of animals, plants, sunsets, and the beauties of nature. You will be remembered as someone who made healthy connections with others. You were a true friend who gave great service. You will be remembered as someone who had a special glow, that you were connected to a source of strength beyond yourself. So as you ponder your legacy, recognize that you aren't done yet. What can you do now to be more childlike, more noble, have more character, and be closer to a source of spiritual strength? Dr. George Vallant, director of the Harvard Study on Aging, describes a woman who, in his estimation, is one of the most successful aging well participants in the Harvard study. Her name, Iris Joy. How fitting. Her life exemplified all 6 facets of aging well. She lived below the poverty line, kept life simple, had a marvelous sense of humor, and continually re-sowed the seeds of love. She chose her parents well. She didn't inherit an increased risk for alcoholism or depression. She didn't smoke or drink alcohol. She had high emotional intelligence. Her home, while very unpretentious, was warm and inviting and contained many books. Vallant called it an enchanted cottage. She had a great family life. Iris Joy was warm and affable, enthusiastic with a wonderful sense of humor. She was at peace with her past and showed a great capacity to keep life simple. Her marriage was solid, and she shared her life and wisdom with many others. Her self-esteem was intact and had a knack of seeing the bright side of everything. Dr. Vallant summed up his description of Iris Joy. She understood how to savor joy and how to turn lemons into lemonade. She spent a life cultivating her garden, both in California and in Canada. She was able to learn from her children, but she never forgot that biology flows downhill. She remembered that all life is a journey and that the seeds of love must be eternally re-sown. Finally, she heeded psychologist Edmund Sanford's century-old advice: the real secret of a happy old age is once more in service for others, carried on to the end of life. A service which, on one hand, gives perennial interest to life by making the old man or woman a participant in the life of all those around him, and on the other, surrounds him with love in return. It's evident from the example of Iris Joy that people have more control over the quality of their lives during the aging process than we previously thought. The Q-Nexus program is designed to establish that very control. And what is it that our Q-Nexus program will help you develop to leave that legacy? Goals that will support the dream of leaving a wonderful legacy. A leap of faith into new challenges, moving from fear into courage. Self-mastery qualities that act as buffers against illness. Getting in touch with your internal wisdom. Venturing, which is the heart of rewiring and refiring. Happiness through progress. Mind, body, spirit resilience. So what is the next step in creating your legacy? At least a part of the answer is found in the great movie Shenandoah, starring Jimmy Stewart. Jimmy Stewart, a wonderful actor, plays the part of a father during the Civil War who does not want his family to get caught between the South and the North. But he can no longer ignore it. His youngest son is captured by the North and taken to prison. Jimmy and his family are searching for that young man to no avail. After days and even weeks of searching, they've had no success. And so we find a scene where they're gathered around a fire. And Jimmy tells his children, "I know you want to go home and give up." But the children say, "No, Dad, we'll support you. Let's keep going." And this is when Jimmy makes a most incredible quote. He says this: "We've got to try. And if we don't try, we don't do. And if we don't do, why are we here on this earth?" Are you ready for this new voyage? To rewire and refire in the last third to fulfill your own wonderful potential and leave a lasting legacy? Let me help you accomplish that with our Q-Nexus program.